We got Nightmare Files on, you know what I'm saying, on this beautiful Sunday. Y'all haven't checked my previous video I just dropped. Make sure y'all go give a video a thumbs up and that video a thumbs up. And also the previous 3 videos that I dropped a thumbs up. Let's go ahead and get into it, man.
When I was in high school, I was a naive, sheltered teenager. We lived in a close community where there was never any crime. There was a married couple who moved in at the end of our block. They had 2 boys, almost the same age as me, and the other was 2 years older. There was no nice way to put this. The boy who was my age was hideous. He looked kind of like Sloth from the Goonies. However, his older brother was a really cute guy.
Damn.
I mean, he looked just like a model.
Wait.
I sat next to Sloth.
Is this a boy or a girl?
In a few of my classes at school. One day, when I was sitting beside him in class, I started making idle chat with him. He looked into my eyes and said, "You better watch out. My older brother likes you, and the last girl he liked is why we had to move." I was so shocked I didn't know what to say. He made it sound so grave. That was all he said to me.
Fuck you mean?
A few weeks later, my parents went out shopping, and I was left home alone.
Nah, what the fuck he meant by that? What the fuck? Everything that look good ain't good, y'all. For dudes too.
It was nighttime, and all of a sudden I heard the doorbell ring. When I answered the door, there was nobody there. Then I noticed a small envelope with my name on it.
I like mine medium ugly.
The contents were disturbing, to say the least. It was a long poem about me being attacked by a man in a cave who snuck up on me, knocked me out with chloroform, and tied me up and brought me back into his basement, where he did unspeakable things to me. I thought it must be one of my friends pulling a prank on me. I called my friend on the phone and I told her, "All right, you got me." The poem was super creepy and really freaked me out. She had no idea what I was talking about. All of a sudden, while I was on the phone with her, I heard something banging against the back door of the house. It was soft at first, but it got louder and louder and kept going on and on. Then the banging suddenly stopped and everything was silent. I was still convinced it must be my friends playing a trick on me, so I peeked out of the kitchen window. I couldn't see anyone. I was still on the phone with my friend, and she was yelling at me to call the police. Just then, the doorbell rang again. I crept down the hall, pressed myself up against the door, and I peeked out of the peephole. Nobody was there, but I could make out a large black lump on the front porch. I couldn't see what it was, so I flicked the switch for the porch light, but it didn't come on. At this point, I was so scared, I was about to have a heart attack. My friend convinced me to hang up and call the police. A few minutes later, a squad car came by, and I looked out of the window. Across the street under the street lamp, I could see the older brother, the cute guy. He was just standing there, smoking a cigarette and watching my house. The police went up and questioned him. Then I saw him try to search him. But he started fighting, and they had to tackle him to the ground. Eventually, they managed to put the handcuffs on him. When they searched him, they found a lot of things. The light bulb from my porch light, a jar of chloroform, a length of rope, and a bloody knife. It was bloody because the black lump on my porch was the next door neighbor's cat. He had killed it.
Oh,
shit. Carved my name in it. The older brother was a really cute guy, but he was mentally disturbed. He was really crazy and his parents didn't care. The younger brother had tried to warn me. I felt bad about calling him Sloth.
He did.
To be one of the smartest and nicest guys in my high school. I think he gave me such a cryptic warning because he was afraid of his older brother. He was scared that his brother would find out and maybe hurt him. I also felt terrible for the family next door and the cat that was killed.
That nigga sick. That nigga goddamn worse than Michael Myers. That's how Michael Myers started. Killing animals and shit at school. But I can't say that.
I live in an old 3-story house with a hidden attic. The attic room always had a creepy vibe. The only way to get into the attic was through a hidden panel on the ceiling. You had to push it, and a set of retractable stairs would come down. One day, my sister came to visit, and she brought my nephew with her. He was 5 years old, and it was the first time he had been in the house. There was a group of us in the house. We had dinner, and afterward, we stayed in the kitchen talking. Then we suddenly realized that my nephew was nowhere to be seen. We started calling out his name and searching for him. 9 people were running around the house, shouting his name and just running around looking for him. I checked the street outside, the garage, then downstairs, then upstairs. There was no trace of him. It was as if he had disappeared. We were about to call the police, and I was standing in the upstairs hallway. Just then, the panel in the ceiling above me opened, and I saw my little nephew. He had a blank look on his face and no emotion in his eyes. I pulled the retractable stairs down and brought him down. I asked him how he got there, and also asked why he didn't answer when I was calling him. The nephew looked me straight in the eye and said, "I was just playing with Andy up there. He showed me the stairs.
Who?
Be quiet because we were playing hide and seek."
Who?
There was no way he could have known about that hidden attic. And there was no way he could have reached the panel and pulled down the stairs. Ever since then, I've avoided that attic room.
You didn't see who the fuck it was? Come on, man. Hey, Nightmare, you gotta start dropping these stories and ain't explaining them. They ain't go, or they just didn't go up there one.
This all happened 28 years ago,
God damn.
when I was only 8 years old. My mother and father
Ain't even
would
finna
often
pause
make
on
me
that.
visit my grandparents for Halloween. My aunt lived 2 houses down from my grandparents, and I could go trick-or-treating with my cousins. Between my grandparents' place and my aunt's place, there was an old, dilapidated house. We always skipped it when we went trick-or-treating on Halloween night because the woman who lived there gave us all the creeps. She was a very big woman, over 6 feet tall, and she wore chains around her neck and heavy work boots. There was obviously something very wrong with her.
Sound like a slave.
Whenever we went back and forth between my aunt's place and my grandparents' place, we always had to run past the woman's house because she was always standing at her windows, watching us. It was so creepy that we never dared to run past her house alone. Sometimes the big woman would be outside her house, watering the garden or scrubbing the windows. When we ran past, she would shout out, yell at us, and call us all kinds of names. She would tell us that the devil was coming for us. We told the adults about her, but they just told us to leave her alone and keep out of her way. But one Halloween, we were going trick-or-treating, and my older cousin dared us to go to the big woman's house and knock on the door. I remember being so scared, but I didn't want to look like a coward, so I agreed. Dressed in our Halloween costumes, we walked up her driveway and rang the doorbell. Suddenly, there was a lot of banging and slamming noises coming from her house. We were frightened, and I was about to run away when the door creaked open. The big woman was standing there.
Whatever happened, need to happen.
She was holding something in her hands. When we saw what it was, we all fled and ran screaming down our driveway. It was a severed head. When we got home, we were all shaking and out of breath. Some of the younger kids were crying. The adults asked us what was wrong and told them what we had seen. They just laughed. My grandfather said it was just a Halloween prop. My grandmother told us we shouldn't be bothering the woman. And it served us right that we had gotten such a scare.
Yeah, needed that.
After we all calmed down, we went out again and continued our trick-or-treating. However, we kept away from the big woman's house. About a month later, my mother got a phone call from my grandparents. They said the big woman who lived next door had tried to murder my aunt. It seemed that my aunt had just come home from shopping. She was carrying her groceries in one arm, and she had my baby cousin in her.
Is it just a Halloween prop now? They told y'all to leave them damn folks alone. Y'all still gonna fuck with them. That be y'all motherfucking kids' problem. That's why so many kids be going missing or dying. Cause y'all kids don't fucking listen. And I don't blame shit. Y'all don't be watching these damn kids in the goddamn.
Just as she got to her front door, the big woman appeared behind her. She had a rope saw and she put it around my aunt's neck.
Oh shit.
And tried to saw off her head.
Oh shit!
My aunt flipped out and immediately dropped the groceries along with my baby cousin. She was in the fight for her life. My aunt managed to get her hands under the rope, so she started kicking her front door with her feet as she struggled. Her husband heard all the commotion, and when he saw what was happening, he fetched the poker from the fireplace and beat the big woman with it until she was unconscious. My aunt survived the attack, but it left her with scars on her hands and a long scar across the front of her neck. Of course, the police were called, and they arrested the big woman. When they searched her house, they found something that shocked everybody in the area. The woman had been digging tunnels under her home, which came up under my aunt's house, my grandparents' house, and other neighbors' house. She had been bringing the dirt up and putting it in the raised flower beds in her garden. But that wasn't all. The most chilling discovery was that she had also built some kind of shrine under her house with candles and other stuff on it. At the center of the shrine was a real human head. Needless to say, it was the same severed head we had seen when we were trick-or-treating on Halloween night. She had already
Friend Jason, this bitch got going on.
My aunt almost became the next severed head in her collection.
Leave people alone. And that's another tale. And that's another tale of leaving people the fuck alone. You see when you start fucking with folks, they fuck with you, leave them alone. That being said, man, Nightmare Files, I didn't like the second story. I ain't gonna lie. You left us hanging. You left us hanging with that second story. You left us hanging with that one. I ain't gonna lie. But the first and third one were definitely creepy. I ain't gonna count. With the boy and shit, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all gotta watch who y'all be fucking with. That being said, man, see you when I see y'all. Let's ride.